Good evening, everyone. Once again, we're in kind of a weird filming area because there are people where I usually film, and I don't want to disturb them with my ramblings about video games, considering they probably don't give a crap about them. But you know what? I do. So, here's my ramblings. First of all, if you celebrated Easter as a religious purpose, happy Easter to you. If you just enjoyed your day off from school, hope you enjoyed your day off from school. Play some video games. Good shit. Today's topic is an interesting one, as I always say, because everything about video games is interesting when you think about it. And this is that generations of gamers, people who are born in the 90s, or people born in the 80s, and people born in this past decade, all grow up as different styles of gamers. As in, the games that are popular when they were kids and when they were in high school, etc., really changed. And you can cite, well, obviously it's different because of the graphical technology and mechanics and the engines that run on, and that's a typical thing. But I look at myself. I was born in the early '90s, and I had a very different game upbringing than somebody who was born, heck, in the late '80s. And that small gap could literally completely change how we look at video games. Certainly, I don't look at video games the same as many people, even in my age group, because of what we were playing. That can make a huge difference. Like, I grew up playing sort of, Lego games. I played a lot of Lego computer games when I was growing up. That shaped me as a person, versus someone who grew up with an NES or a Nintendo 64 and grew up playing, Legend of Zelda or Super Mario Brothers, Super 64, for example. So, we're two different people. We might like the same games, but how we interpret them, how we talk to people about them, what we compare them with, completely different. And that really shapes the climate that we see other games in. If look, I'm wearing a shirt of Call of Duty Black Ops. Somebody who grew up playing Ultima and D&D, they're gonna look at Call of Duty Black Ops and go, this is what people do as games these days? They're going to think it's absolutely ridiculous. And certainly there's a very large amount of the gaming audience that thinks that Call of Duty is absolutely ridiculous. You can stand on whatever side of that stance you will. I don't want to instigate. But me, I look at it and go, it's a game. You go in, you shoot people. Congratulations. It's a game. They spent years of their lives working on it, and I paid my money. I'm going to play my game as much as I want. Thank you very much. So, how you were raised with games really changes who you are. Like, some people, they come out of the womb, there's an NES sitting in the house, or a SNES or something, and that's what they've done for years. Me, I had books. I had books and Legos. Not saying that's a bad childhood. If that was your childhood, that's a great childhood. Of course, I turned out really weird, so I don't know if it's actually the best childhood, but who's to say? And that's why games intrigue me. Because where you start is the beginning of this great journey of your game development. Like, I started playing Lego Island. That was probably the first game I actually remember playing. That was the first game I played. It was a really, really, really invisible walled sandbox game. That was wrapped around Legos because I absolutely love Legos. So, you start playing games about stuff you like, and that tends to lead off to a really weird career of absolutely loving games. Who wouldn't want that as a career? I love video games, and I get paid to do so. Hey, can I kill you and take your job? Please? No, I wouldn't kill anyone to take their job because they love video games. Actually, I would, but we'll leave that for later. And that's why games are awesome. Yeah, that's why. It's because your upbringing really fits your gamer profile. I played games to try and get as much out of it as I could, to try and do every single thing in the game, to want to get every single little overarching trophy or ability, which is why I love achievements on the Xbox. Because, God, I see new achievements and I'm like, yes, new game, more achievements, bigger score, more worthlessness for my life. It's a tragic tale of gaming modern. Of course, you have to think about where it started from. Square one. Little paddles and a ball. Here we are now, running games at 700 plus frames per second, and able to have anti-aliasing as far as the eye can render, you know? It's crazy, crazy to think about how much gaming has changed. And to think that every single cycle of life is a completely different style of gamer. Kids who were born not 5 years after me, they started playing completely different games than I did. And that completely changes what games they play now. But there are still games that it's sort of like a rite of passage when you think about gaming. There's like, you've played this game. You've played this game. There are sort of these blocks in which, you look there, it's like, if you were born from this decade to this decade, you played this game. No matter what. I feel that to be true. I really do. It's just because of how universal gaming is, because of how much the wings of gaming gather people in, it's impossible to escape some of its greater tendencies. I feel like there's probably isn't a single person born within like 5 years on each end of me that hasn't played a Pokemon game. Some people still do now. People just like Pokemon. So think about where you came from in gaming. Where did you start playing? What are you playing now? Does it make sense that you evolved that way? This is why I like gaming. That's why I hope you do too. I will see you later.